There's so many different combinations of it. And all of them.
Okay, the Zoom is running, but I'm having problems with the video, so we're just going to move on without it. This is a problem that's been sort of plaguing us a little bit. So we will move on without that. I will call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. We'll do a quick roll call.
Beth Campbell, Selectman.
Mike Burr, Selectman.
Rich Soleo, Selectman. All right, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Right.
This power strip is my nemesis.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of May 5th, 2026.
Mick, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes dated Tuesday, May 5th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any second? Any discussion? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. The next item is new business. I just texted Tim. He is on his way. So I would accept a motion to move the new business agenda item referred to as discuss approve new benches to be first under new business.
I'll do better than that. I make a motion to move affordable housing in Thomaston, Tim Bobrowski to the end of all the new business
Second.
as a penalty for not being here on time.
Okay, we have a motion and a
You don't have
second.
to put the penalty part in there.
Do we have any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we'll move to new benches. It would be helpful if you came forward so folks can hear you.
Hello, Mary Beth Johnson. You don't need to know where I live, but I'm the chair of the beautification committee here in Thomaston, and have been doing that for 18 years. Today I am coming to ask for monies from the NIP to the town of Thomaston can use monies from the NIPS fund to purchase 7 new benches for the town of Thomaston. These benches would go into Seth Thomas Park. And then there is a memorial bench that my family is going to do that would make 8 benches that would be new to that park. I'm on a mission this summer to replace and refurbish all of the benches in Thomaston because they are they're old. They're not in disrepair. They're not splintered, but they're old, and it's time we have done all the light posts. We've done the toppers on the light posts. We have 10 new receptacles for flowers of the planters that in Thomaston. There's the town is looking really good, and it's looking clean, neat, and updated, and the benches is really the next step. The bench that I want to buy, it matches the one that's literally in front of the town hall. If you've had a chance to, I know you've looked at it. It's the memorial bench that's right in front of town hall. It's made by Barco. The color is the same that we would use the same, it's like a chocolate brown. It's actually called brown. It's made of recycled material, a composite. Has a 50-year warranty for the bench, and 20 for the hardware that's on it. I have a quote from the company Barco, and the quote is for 7 benches, and the quote is for $7,385. And shipping would be an additional $608.16 for a total of $7,993.16. What else do you need to know?
The benches are made of,
A composite material. It's not Trex, it's a composite material. Yeah.
Same stuff that's right in
It's-
front of the building.
Yep.
Yes.
The only question I have,
Mhm.
the rotary, those are all rotary benches,
Mhm.
most of them. Has anybody talked to Rotary about
I
this?
did. I went to Rotary in the
Chip
beginning
in
of,
Any money?
so I approached Rotary first in the beginning of May. Went to their meeting, explained what I wanted to do. So after discussion, they are taking on 2 projects. They were actually looking for 2 projects. One was a project that they wanted to do, and one was a project that they wanted to write a grant for. The to-do project is to look at and possibly refurbish all the benches that are in Kenny Park. Those benches are different than these benches. Those were done when the Kenny Park design was redone. So they're gonna take on the project of looking at them and refurbishing them, whatever that needs to be done. Then they're writing a grant for, to Rotary, and I'm pretty sure it's Rotary International. It's an annual grant that's done at this time of year. And that grant will, be for 4 benches, which will replace the benches that are in Veterans Park. So I have talked to them, and there may be more memorial benches that come. I just don't have anybody coming forth with that at this point. And they can be ordered along the way, not in this order. So I did Rotary, I did that. And I don't know what other questions you might have.
The benches that you said they're not in terrible shape, but are we gonna use them somewhere else or we're
Okay.
just gonna throw them away?
My thought is that we take those benches and all the bus stops all the way down South Main Street, they don't have benches. And I think we should take those benches and park and put them at the different bus stops all the way down South Main Street. Now, my question is, and I don't know some of that's private land. I don't know if we can
No,
actually do
It's
that.
actually state land.
It's,
It would be
the
state,
bus stop would be state land?
from the center of the road, pretty far out off the side of the road is state property because it's a state road. So we probably have to get state permission to put them at those spots.
Mm-hmm. I'd be willing to work on it. On work on that. And I just think that's a really good idea because people have to stand rain, shine, and they have to stand there waiting for their bus. And those benches ideally could be repurposed. One of the benches is right out that window that would be replaced.
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna suggest nice rooms, but I see the highway guys here and I know that's just more weed whacking, so. We'll let people bring their own seats.
right?
Yeah, okay.
There are memorial benches up there. There already are.
Yeah.
This bench is already up there.
Yeah, I know. I
You-
put that in.
You
Cheryl-
did it
Cheryl-
for Cheryl? Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mike Matt on Victoria. I don't have any other questions. The only other question is, you said from the money from where? From
the
HIPS?
NIPS fund?
HIPS, what is that?
so we have, every time someone buys a 50 ml, little alcohol thing.
Oh,
The NIPS?
Nippers,
The
huh?
NIPS.
So there's a 10-cent tax on those, and those are not returnable. So the state's idea was to put a giant tax on them to dissuade people from buying them. But what they do is those sales are reported every year, and that money comes directly to us. So we currently have just over $45,000 in that account.
Just from this town?
Mhm.
Oh, we drink a lot of nippers.
It's kind of sad, right?
Is there a record for the per capita, the number one town in the state?
I don't know.
Let's go
But
for it.
So this is money that's actually built up a bit over time because in the legislation that's passed, they gave no guidance on what it could be used on. And every time we ask what we can use it on, they only send us a list about that includes things that they have not approved, but it has been used on. So they're super cagey, no, classic state response. We're not going to tell you yes or no, but we felt comfortable with this because those benches are made from a recyclable material. So, we're putting, some plastic waste back to use in a good way.
So
As I know, we used the NIPS fund to purchase the 18 new trash receptacles that went out. That was NIPS money that paid for that.
Rich, what was the dollar amount?
The remainder in the fund, 45,908.
5,908.
Yes. I will say that Rec is also looking for, I think, three
New trash.
new trash/recycling receptacles that are about 900 each. But still, there's plenty of money in there.
I'll make a motion to approve, not to exceed $8,000 for the benches that have been requested from the NIPS fund.
Second.
There's this is a 30-day quote. What if that changes after the 30 days? There was a quote from 5/20, so it's good till 6/20.
Sounds
That's
like you
fine.
need to get pretty busy.
I think we need to get on the phone.
You're welcome to next Tuesday, you're going to Board of Finance.
I am.
The day after that, you'll be able to call them and say yes.
And make sure they
Pretty
don't
sure.
charge you sales tax.
We already have that. That's in
Okay.
the quote.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item is to discuss, approve the resolutions and statements for Fair Housing Month. So I would accept a motion to accept and approve the Fair Housing Resolution as presented and its associated documents.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. The next item under new business is, so this is something that I wanted to bring to the board's attention. As everyone's aware, Glenn retired, and since he's left at the end of April, although he was on vacation for most of April, the crew leader has stepped up and has been doing quite a bit to keep things running down there. Very shorthanded, missing a maintainer and missing a mechanic. So I would like to float the idea of possibly some type of compensation adjustment for that person who's been taking out a lot of things. I've been trying to help out, but with the plate that I have, I've been just about able to help them move some money around and keep the budget flowing, and provide a small amount of direction. But the bulk of the leadership down there has come from the crew leader.
Yeah, is that a union position that?
It is a union position.
Contract that we have to vote to amend the contract or what? How would you do that?
So the contract is somewhat vague. There is a section in the contract that somewhat alludes to that. It talks about employees temporarily transferred to work for a higher classification. receiving the higher class, the step up rate for the higher classification. It does not mean the superintendent, obviously.
What's higher than the crew leader position? Nothing?
Nothing, not in relation to the
So you're
contract.
somewhere in between the crew leader and the superintendent's salary?
Yes,
So it's really not addressed in the contract.
not in my opinion.
There's nothing in there that, anything in the vacancy of a superintendent or anything like that.
No. And certainly not for an extended period of time.
I got no problem with it. Any other business, if somebody went a level above, would probably have some sort of compensation. And I know they're shorthanded, so I'm glad it's all holding together.
Yep. So if this board is okay, I will start to have discussions with the union and see how we can frame this up.
Yeah, and the Board of Finance is going to be brought in the loop too.
I will discuss it with them next Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
So we don't need a motion at this point.
Don't need a
Kind
motion.
of
I just was gauging support.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
The, I didn't ask her because she was shaking her head like this.
So
Next item on the agenda is affordable housing in Thomaston.
how come you moved the chair back?
Get the chair back.
No, so, yeah, thank you. Good evening. My name is Tim Bobrowski. My wife Lynn and I own Thomaston Valley Village on Reynolds Ridge Road. I'm here for discussion on affordable housing. And where I'm coming from is, to be perfectly transparent, I have my own project that's going in front of planning and zoning as well as water pollution control. But I just wanted clarification on the town of Thomaston has included a affordable housing plan. Okay, since it was adopted, my question is to the selectmen, has anything happened, or is there been any more discussion on the general affordable housing in the town of Thomaston since this was passed?
What's the date of that? Right on the front.
It says 9/6/2023.
To my knowledge, there was a moratorium on any building but I don't remember when that started.
Yeah, I think there's two sets of conversations. One was related to the WPCA and our ability to connect, to have new connections. That was one. I'm sure you're aware of that. And then the other conversations that we've been having are related to the new legislation that came in both in this year's session and last year's session. So we are currently working, and so those regulations, the way they were written, they were basically passed to the Council of Governments for implementers. So our Council of Governments, Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, NVCOG, is currently working on a plan that will be written for the entire COG. Now, what that means is that we can either use or not use what they put together. It will be the town's decision whether to implement those recommendations or draft all our own. And I can tell you the level of complexity that I've seen in the last two legislative changes has been steep. And we'll have to see what they come back with, but it's highly likely that from what I've seen so far, we will be probably looking to just accept what the, or work with what the NVCOG is going to propose. So yes, the answer truthfully to your question is yes. Nothing has been done from a regulatory implementation perspective, except perhaps you could say for the moratorium for the WPCA.
Putting the moratorium aside.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, the issue of affordability in the town of Thomaston is very complex, okay? I mean, the reality of it is the last time any new apartment building was built was myself 10 years ago, okay? There's been naturally a couple houses and renovations and all that. I get that part, but to specifically increase the inventory for affordability, nothing's really happened. Okay, so what I'm asking is, I appreciate what you're talking about, Rich. I'll stay diligent on it. But it's an issue that, you know, that, I mean, I'm gonna use Selectman Burr's son, Brian, as an example. I mean, we're very fortunate to have a quality person like him coming from New York City to live in Thomaston. Okay,
Well, you don't have my permission to use my son in a public meeting, but go ahead. Let's use an arbitrary person that.
okay, let's make believe, I know this guy, the kid that was born here in Thomaston. And lived in New York City. And being that he's from Thomaston, he wanted to come back to Thomaston. I don't see additional housing being, you know, I think there's a big need for that. I mean, the demographics, and I'll be very brief and I'll be out of here. The demographics in Thomaston is stagnant and only getting older. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's but long term, I think it's gonna be a serious problem. So I appreciate your time. I mean, once again, just to clarify, I do have my own affordable housing plan that I'm going forward with the town. We're gonna see where that goes. It might do something, it might not, I don't know. All right,
Yeah, I have a couple of questions or comments, if that's okay. Are you done?
I'm done.
Yeah. And to be clear, the reason nothing's been done is no fault of this board or the town of Thomaston. I mean, you know better than anybody, the cost of building new buildings has been astronomical over the last couple of years, which is probably why there are very few housing starts. And it's not just a Thomaston issue, it's everywhere. But I just have a question. This affordable housing plan that you said says that it's considered affordable housing if it's priced so that people and family pay 30% or less of their annual income on housing. So are you telling me you're gonna build houses, let's say, I don't know what the per capita income is, let's say it's,
I have it right.
let's say it's 100.
Here.
The per, what is the number here?
Well, the number,
That
the
was,
number right here is the median household income is $103,000.
so this says housing which is priced so that persons and families pay 30% or less of their annual income on housing. So that means someone, the average income would be, let's say 30,000
Right,
a year.
yeah,
So,
your math is right,
yeah, so 30,000 a year divided by 12 is,
$2,500.
$2,500 a month. So
If you go,
are you selling, are you gonna plan, your plan, is it gonna be units that are purchased or rented?
my plan is gonna be rental. But to answer your question, which is a very good question, by the way, you're talking, you know, the housing authority, okay, Thompson Housing Authority, they take its income related and they get subsidized, all right? Now, I'm looking at different programs that a portion, not the whole thing, but I'm talking about a portion of it will be financed with Connecticut Housing Finance Authority or the Department of Housing, which they have stipulations on income and how that works. The devil's in the details, but once again, you know, the housing that I'm projecting, I'm not in competition against Green Manor or Grove Manor. I'm not, I can't do that. But I am gonna follow what the state statute is, and if, hopefully I can work with the town. If not, there's a state statute, 830G, which basically is a different animal.
You talking about low income housing or affordable housing?
I'm talking affordable housing.
You talk,
But
there's so many different.
I mentioned Green Manor, I'm not doing that, I'm not presenting that, no.
Green Manor and Grove Manor are low, very low income housing,
Correct,
and you're not proposing that.
I am not proposing.
Are you proposing the term that's been bounced around is workforce housing? Is that something you're?
That's what I'm proposing, yes.
So affordable low income is considered under $40,000 a year income. under 60, I think, and then affordable or workforce housing is 60 to 120,000. So is that the range you're targeting?
Once again, that has to be negotiated between the planning and zoning, all right? And what exactly do they, what do they expect? It could be a component, yes, a couple of units can be exact that low, yes. All right, but I'm not proposing the entire thing. You have to remember, I have 40 people on my waiting list for senior housing. Okay, that I'm incorporating, part of the proposal is gonna do senior housing on this piece of property. I have people from Thompson that wanna come to our place, and unfortunately, we can't accommodate them. So I mean, it's gonna be a my particular deal is gonna be, a multi faction. It's not gonna be just one thing, nor do I have the details either. But I just wanna, bring to the attention that, I know you're working on that, Rich, and I appreciate that. But I think, I don't know what the pulse of the community is, but I think affordable housing is an issue that maybe you guys could discuss a little bit more later on.
Where are you with the WPCA on your property that you're trying to propose this housing on as far as hookups?
Okay,
And my understanding was 18 hookups, but you need a minimum of twice that to
Well,
proceed, or?
once again, this is a legality, it's part of the legality of what might. But right now, and just to summarize, the moratorium has been lifted for 250 units to be connected. That was predetermined. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Now-
those are properties that are all previously from previous developments around town, if
Well,
I'm not
that,
mistaken.
once again, all right.
So
Unfortunately-
yours would be included, but I think it would be included up to whatever was previously approved, like the 18 or whatever, but
But once again, it's a legal issue because we did a freedom of information to say, okay, water pollution control, how did you come up with this?
come up with
And-
what?
How did you come up with 18 units? And what the,
Oh, we don't need to get into all that here, but that still hasn't been resolved.
it hasn't been resolved. It's gonna be,
So,
probably a couple months to get this
yeah,
resolved.
so technically, under the 250 that have been lifted, at this point in your or the WPCA's mind, your part of the 250 is 18 hookups. Am I correct in that assumption? And to get more than that, then you need to go and battle it with WPCA. That's not an issue for
That's not an
us.
issue, that's
I
true.
don't know.
Okay, so that's fine.
So you're going to planning and zoning with a proposal for,
The zone
18
change
is-
tomorrow.
oh, just a zone change.
It's zone change in a 3-lot subdivision, that's it. It's nothing specific, because we have to meet with water pollution control at the end of the month.
Okay, well, I mean, we welcome anybody that wants to come in and build new housing, so hopefully we can move
Well,
past all.
we'll see what happens,
all
but I
the
appreciate your
details.
time. That's all I really wanted to say, thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything?
You have no question? Okay. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
I would accept a motion to amend new business, to add an item, to reappoint, Deborah Bornable to the Greater Waterbury Transit District.
Do you want to do that under,
It-
Board
it can't-
appointments?
No, because it's not our board.
okay. Second,
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Yeah, that's where I thought it was supposed to go, Mike, but I was corrected. So there is a board that focuses on the Greater Waterbury Transit District. Deb has always served on that board for us, and her appointment was up last July. So I would recommend we reappoint her.
I make a motion to reappoint her to whatever the name of it was.
Greater Waterbury Transit District.
Greater Waterway Transit Board of Directors. President.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Can I add something in new business?
You can.
I would like to add to new business a discussion of the Waterbury Water Company's pipeline that runs from their property up in the corner of Morris Litchfield, Wigwam Reservoir down to Waterbury. I'd like to bring that up on the agenda, please.
Are you making a motion to have it?
Yeah,
Second.
Discussion? None. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Motion carries.
okay. I know we've talked about it and the Railroad Museum stockyard's been hammered twice so far. And the initial time I jumped in and got a hold of Piscopo Henry Martin, and they got the state to come to inspect because they have the 3 rails down there for their stockyard, but the actual freight line is out between their stockyard and the river. And that water main broke and did so much flooding damage. I Piscopo got the state inspectors to come and inspect that freight line to make sure that it was safe for, because it's an active line and the state owns it. So they did that. But it wasn't even a month later, and then they were told like, well, the Railroad Museum, you guys have to go after your insurance. And that's not, I talked to the gentleman that's doing the Connecticut Water Project through town. They had a break and it flooded Roos Power Sports, and Connecticut Water was paid for all the damage to that property and cleaned it all up. Now, the city of Waterbury is saying, hey, it's your problem. You go after your own insurance. And I don't think that's right.
It
Subsequent to that, we had another break and it did more damage to that area. But it appears to me, and I know they're going through and fixing and relining that huge pipe with smaller pipe. But I would like to take some action and say, listen, we want you to inspect that whole line. Otherwise, these guys could conceivably destroy our town 100 feet at a time as it floods. Goes right by the school, right by Black Rock Village. It could do a lot of damage, and I'd like to know what exactly is their plan to inspect and repair the alignment instead of reacting. I'd like to insist that they become proactive and not reactive. Otherwise, there's a huge liability to the town all the way between old Waterbury Road and Wigwam Reservoir.
agreed. So I had a conversation after the second break with Joe Gary, who is the assistant to the mayor of Waterbury, about this topic. He and I had called him before after the first break. So he called Howard Pincus and they had a conversation, and he said, I will send you the claim form so that you can submit your estimates to us and we will submit it and pay you. So that was after the first one. However, when he sent the form, he did not send it to the right email address. So Howard never got it. Howard also never followed up on that until the second break. I called Joe Gary again after the second break and said, what's going on? I thought you were going to come to the table here. And he said, I did. I sent him the form, and I will have to send him another form for the second situation. So I said, well, wait a minute. Why don't you just send me what you sent him so I can see what it was? He sent it to me and I realized the email address was wrong. We corrected the email address and he resent it to Howard and said, please fill out 2 of these, one for the first event, one for the second event. And Waterbury will submit it to their insurance company.
Yeah, because there's substantial damage down there.
I understand. And I agree with what you said.
That's part
one. Part 2 of my conversation with him was, we need to know what your plan is because you're not going to cut Thomaston up, 10 feet at a time for the next 2 years. So what are you going to do about it? And he said, his response to me was, we know we need a plan, except we're still struggling to sort of recap or rebound from the fact that they fired their head of water, right? You're familiar with that?
Yes.
Situation? Okay. So Um, so they fired their head of water. Right now, they have nobody to sort of take a leadership role and figure out what the best course of action is. So he did commit to me um, that he would put something together, but they also are trying to fill that position at the same time. So a bit of a waffle, if you will, of a response. Um, so my intention, I put a tickler on my calendar for next week to send him another note and say, I need to plan. And I'm going to keep doing that until they do something.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, stay on them.
I don't know what else to do. If you have some other thoughts.
They're going to negotiate like Iranians. They're just going to keep a slow roll going on us until we get destroyed, 5 breaks at a time or 5 breaks a year. But yeah, I really would like to know whether that line's been inspected at a minimum and what the status of it is.
I'll toss that into next week's questions.
Thanks. I don't have anything else. All right, you're welcome.
Okay. We're going to move to old business now, if there's no other new business. So old business, the first item under old business, is the school feasibility project. So I think everyone should have a copy of the giant PDF now, addressed to some other person. I don't know who that person is, but,
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's like reading War and Peace.
yes, it is.
It's,
So I know that the chair of the Board of Ed is working to move that document forward and have schedule some discussions. They have asked to have that discussion with DRA. I recommended that he at least copy each of the all the three boards to let people know that a discussion is going to happen. Personally, my personal opinion is we need to give the Board of Ed some space to do their work. I know that we probably has questions as well. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't bring any of those forward, and perhaps the Board of Finance has questions as well. We should bring those forward, but I don't think I want to pile on to the conversation with the Board of Ed because I'd like them to just have the space to do their work. That's my recommendation.
well, that's all. That's great. That's dandy. The Board of Ed, they need to look at it from the perspective of education, obviously, and what the alignment of the schools are going to be. But I've already gone on record to say that we can't afford the cheapest of these options. And now with the different combination, there's got to be 16 different choices in here, it seems like. But it's almost laughable that they have cost analysis with escalation going out to 2020 or 2037. It's like, I don't even know how they can even write a report that goes that far out with real numbers in it, but
So they're not real numbers, Mike. So just to be clear, first of all, I
they're pretty, just to be clear, they're pretty explicit numbers because they're broken down by construction costs, engineering costs, architectural costs. And so the starting numbers are very real and
they're estimates.
yeah,
They're estimates so that we could have an order of magnitude to compare the options,
yeah,
right?
I understand that.
We
I
will
just,
need to move into a design phase once we select one or two of those options to start to understand more closely what those costs might be. But they're orders of magnitude intended to allow us to have cost as a metric when we compare the multiple
yeah,
options.
I get the whole study. I read it. It's just, the numbers are dumbfounding. No matter which option you want to pick. My point of all this is all great, but as a part of this whole exercise was supposed to be most of their plans have us closing the center school. And we weren't gonna go and make a decision on doing that without a parallel committee, if you recall, that's gonna look into what may the uses of the center school be.
No one,
Because you know what they have is not built into any of this, Rich. And some of their plans close, as you know, close Black Rock and the center school and move it all and
Mhm.
rebuild and expand the high school as a campus. But what they don't have built into this is what's the cost to the town when we get handed two buildings like that? What are we supposed to do with them? There's no cost analysis in here, so we really need to establish that secondary committee to start looking into what happens if we end up with two closed buildings, and I am absolutely not volunteering to be on that. So somebody.
would you just move closer to the mic and say that again?
Yeah, I'm,
I, look, I,
but it's a very important part of the discussion, and we better have some answers for people if, because it looks to me at a minimum, one of the choices will be to close at least the center school.
yep, no, I
And
understand
think
that.
there's going to be huge public opposition to that, especially if we don't have a plan for it. And then somebody comes in and we plopped 830G or whatever it was. You know, we're going to have another Green Manor, Grove Manor, right where the center school. And I get the need for the affordable kind of stuff, but you also have to know what that will do to the fabric of this town if we plunk that kind of housing right in the center of town.
So if you recall, at the last three board meeting, that was exactly my recommendation. And the Board of Education backed completely away from taking any next steps until they had a full look and came back with their POV. At that last three board meeting, I asked for two committees. I asked for a committee to take some downward selected options forward, make sure they work, and then bring them to the town. In parallel, I wanted another committee to do exactly what you just said.
Right, but my
What are the
question is
costs?
that-
Hold on a second. Let me finish. Let me
That's fine.
finish, please. It's exactly what I asked for. Another committee to go figure out what are the costs and what would happen with these buildings should we move forward with any of these. And all of that was shot down at that last meeting in January.
Yeah,
So-
but my point would be, Rich, what the use of that building is, which is a town-owned building, is not a Board of Ed function. I think
Totally agree.
this board should come up with the parallel committee on what to do with buildings that if we end up vacant. You know, if you're gonna wait for them to form a subcommittee that's gonna look into what's gonna happen to the two schools.
No, I did not mean that. I did
Okay.
not mean that the Board of Ed was responsible for doing that. What I said was those three boards, all the people in that room should agree to put together another committee that focuses on that effort.
Oh, you mean when the three boards met one time?
No, the three boards met more than one time. They met three times.
We did.
Yes.
I remember the one in the Lena Morton Gallery. I don't remember another one, but
We met once at the high school.
High school.
yeah, I wasn't at that one.
So, it was the one in Lena Morton that was in, I want to say January sometime.
So
That is not what I meant. I did not mean that the Board of Ed should form a committee to look at buildings.
okay,
That is not,
the joint board of three committees, that's all right.
Yep.
So are we gonna meet again and draw names from a hat on who gets to look into the use of the, how are we gonna proceed? How does this happen?
can you hold on one second?
I
Yeah.
just have one comment. Well, I was on the Board of Ed when they did the last feasibility study, probably on the Board of Finance. But they really should have pushed DRA right along. They should have been meeting with them right along every step of the way. That's just my first comment. The second one is just double check the Board of Ed policy, because I believe they have a policy that states if a school building is gonna be closed, they have to have certain representation on it, and there's a whole section of it, just so you know.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I'm not saying it doesn't include them, but what I'm saying is it's not just them.
It's just listed in there.
That's all
So-
I'm saying.
Do you have a timeline on all this and what's the next step?
So
They're behind the timeline.
yes, I'm waiting for the Board of Ed to do their thing still.
Okay.
And
It's fine
the
with me.
chair,
I don't care if this takes forever because we can't afford any of it, so. I'm gonna
So-
filibuster for about 4 years.
I think you're 1 year into that filibuster, Mike. Um, but they reached out to DRA to schedule some time last week. So that's all, that's the update that I know.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. So the next item is the municipal solid waste RFP. So we put out an RFP for collection and disposal of solid waste. We had three, I'll say, interested parties. And then on the day they were required to submit their bid, only one showed up. It was CWPM. So I think that's sort of good because I think most people are generally happy with the services they provide. So we are in the process. We have a full red line from our end. It was sent back last week to CWPM. I spoke to them today. They're fundamentally okay with one slight change, which isn't material. So there's a lot of discussion in there about carts and stuff like that, which was basically copy and pasted from the RFP. So to sort of streamline the agreement, we're going to take some of that out and we're going to physically put the RFP in as uh, an appendix. The other piece is we negotiated the price down somewhat. We negotiated down some of the condo tipping fees, and we also negotiated down the per ton cost. So I anticipate having a clean contract tomorrow. I would like to ask this board to have a special meeting on Thursday if possible to potentially approve, moving that to town meeting.
This Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do any time during.
We're shooting for a town meeting either the 18th or the 25th.
I have a meeting at 8 AM for about an hour. Other than that, I available the rest of the day.
5:30 for you?
4:45.
Okay.
Whatever works, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
We can figure that out and I'll have a clean
Um,
copy.
Yeah. Well, you gotta put the agenda in by tomorrow, right? For a special meeting on Thursday.
Yeah, it's not hybrid. It'll just be a
Okay,
in-person meeting.
all right. Good job on that, by the way.
I don't know about that.
Well,
But-
I think so.
The next, any other questions on that? Okay. The next item is Old Northfield Road. So I think I have mentioned before that, we have an engineering, bit of engineering work going on for Old Northfield Road. We have to repair some of the damage that we did along a waterway that's on state property. They came back, and as part of that agreement, they want us to also rehab a strip of land equal to the two sides of the waterway that we compromised.
That's private property, isn't it? That's not state property,
Some of it is state.
down close to
Yeah.
109.
Yep.
Oh,
So we have, I worked with Ty and Bond, who's working on this project, to find another suitable source, a sort of riverbank, that happens to be down by the transfer station, which is actually the same tributary right before it goes into the Naugatuck River. So there's a lot of invasive species on that riverbank. So we wrote a proposal, drafted a sort of a brief proposal back to DEEP and said, hey, we think we have about 600 feet of riverbank here with a lot of invasives. We will come in and take those invasives out and plant something native. And I believe, so in principle, they agreed with the proposal, but they have not agreed to the proposal, obviously in writing, because our contact at DEEP needed to talk to someone else who is more versed on species and some other things. Um, so that is currently the plan. Um, any questions on that? All right, Elm Street. So Elm Street is a LOT SIP project. So we are roughly at the 30% design level. We now have something that will go to an information meeting on June 17th. It'll be 6 p.m. in Lena Morton. And we posted it on, did I post it on Facebook? I think I did. Yeah, posted it on Facebook. I sent it to Clocktown Chronicles. We also sent letters to everybody on Elm Street, all the owners on Elm Street to make them aware. So that will be, depending upon comments from that meeting, we will step up to a 90% design criteria after that input. As a reminder, the goal of that project is to incorporate a new CT water main, plus some new WPCA infrastructure all at the same time. So we're not ripping the road up 3 times. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. All right. Next item is the organizational realignment. I think we've talked about this quite a bit. The general thrust is that we would look to combine the highway superintendent and the WPCA superintendent into a single position. We would then create a new reporting coordinator position that would remove some of the items that currently are the responsibility of those 2 roles. So moving some of the basic stuff off those 2 roles into another role that would also be responsible for some project coordination, some grant locating and grant writing, as well as all of the reporting requirements across the town for different types of environmental and reporting and so forth. At last month's WPCA meeting, they voted to support this organizational realignment unanimously. So I think it's time this board votes.
Do we need to enter into executive session to discuss employment terms?
We're not going to discuss employment terms because this has to go to town meeting. So we can discuss employment. We can do that. We can't do it in this meeting, but we can certainly do that. But we don't know whether the town would approve such a thing or not.
So it would affect current contracts, correct?
There's only one possible contract that it would affect. So,
But I was gonna say, if I had questions regarding that, I would not ask them in public session,
correct.
right?
However, the superintendent of highway had a direct employment contract with the first selectman. And the WPCA superintendent has a direct employment contract with the WPCA commission. So those are not union contract positions, if that helps.
I will say it again. I don't support this one iota. I'm sorry, Rich, I know you worked hard on this. Has it been determined how the pay, is it gonna be 50-50 from the WPCA and how the commingling of funds work?
So there's no commingling of funds. The WPCA for the next budget cycle will pay the budgeted amount and the town will pay the rest, including, and the town will also pay the salary for the reporting coordinator.
Okay, I'm already on record. I don't need to read it all in again, but in my opinion, it's just way too much work for one person. Nothing against Bert, but I had said previously, if we're gonna combine these positions, will it go out to bid?
Yes,
So,
it will be posted.
I just see a huge amount of work in here and I spoke to, I won't mention names, but two previous WPCA. It's kind of stupid not to mention names because anybody can figure out, but neither one of them said they would want to do this. One of the previous highway superintendents was specifically asked if they could do that job 20 hours a week, splitting the two responsibilities, said absolutely not. I will say that one of the previous WPCA said they wouldn't do it, but they didn't doubt that Bert could do it, so it's not a personality thing. It's just that I just think it's biting off too much. I really do. And I'm just gonna have to say my piece and then see where the chips fall here. I just think there are gonna be a lot of questions about this at a town meeting, so just gotta be ready to get hit with both barrels, right?
So my questions are just more logistical too, like. If it's combined, when there's emergencies, just those types of things. And I know initially you said it really wouldn't save the town money per se, because we're adding these other positions.
In the budget model that I have, it's about $5,000 over what we budgeted for next year. However, there's negotiations involved, right? I will tell you, if we do not go this route, there is no way that we can replace the highway superintendent for what we were paying that person.
Well,
It'll be much more.
I'm gonna wanna see all the numbers,
Okay.
and,
I don't have all the numbers. So,
well, I think we should have those certainly by a town meeting, no? What if you're asked specifically what the numbers are? You're just gonna,
so Mike, how can I have the numbers
you can have.
if I don't have, please let me finish. If I don't have authority to go do anything, I haven't posted the job and I haven't negotiated a salary with someone.
Well,
I can't take those steps without the approval to do this.
I'd venture to bet you could come up with a reasonable wag.
I have a reasonable
At
wag,
least a range of numbers.
I have
you
it.
Could present.
but I
I
can't
think
present it in an open meeting.
God's sakes, we got
And
a school report that goes out with numbers to 2040.
Mhm.
So certainly we could come up with a wag on what this might cost, what you might have to pay a reporting coordinator. And I don't need to say anything else. I'll save it, but I'm opposed.
Okay, so I would accept a motion to move forward with the organizational realignment as presented in prior meetings. Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Do you want a second, your own? I'm not gonna, I'll second it for purposes of a vote.
Okay, discussion? Okay, can we vote, please?
Burrs and no.
Campbell, yes.
Cilio, yes. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is board commissions, appointments, resignations. So
Can you just back up once?
Yep.
You approved that reorg, but do you need to call, when's the town meeting proposed?
so
for-
tomorrow, so the meeting that we have on Thursday will be a town meeting call.
Okay, you're
There-
gonna include that?
I'm going to include that. So it'll be, if we approve the WPCA, it will be the realignment. We have a tax incentive for 4 seasons that we have to do. And that may be it. There's one other piece, but I didn't realize that P and Z has to approve our acceptance of town roads. So if you recall a few meetings ago, a few months ago, we accepted Grove Heights and Terrace Road, but we need approval. So P and Z is going to discuss it tomorrow night. If they approve it, that will be the 4th item on the town meeting call. So I would accept a motion to accept the resignation of Glenn Clark from the retirement committee. And can I combine these? And Adam Silver from the Board of Finance.
So move,
Second,
and
Okay, any discussion?
yeah, could you send them both a letter
Yep.
thanking them?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I would accept a motion to appoint Jeff Madden to the retirement committee. And I need to add one appointment, which is not on the agenda, which is Tanya Galpin to the Rec Commission. Tanya has served on that commission for some time, and would like to be reappointed.
Well, I'll make a motion to appoint Jeff Madden to the retirement committee.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I'll make a motion to add to the agenda the appointment of Tanya Galpin to the Rec Commission.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tanya Galpin to the Rec Commission.
second,
Discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Tax refunds?
see, make a motion to approve the tax refund submitted by the tax collector in the amount of $285.19 to BW Credit Leasing Ltd. And approve the credit to, in the amount of $366.25 to A Car Leasing. In the amount of $1,942.70 to Allison Demers. In the amount of $1,887.54 to Joyce R. Knowlton. In the amount of $2,823.80 to Home Loan Services. And $2,269.82 to Home Loan Services.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is communications.
1 second.
So we approved Glenn Clark's resignation and Adam Silverman in one. Okay, Jeff Madden.
Jeff Madden, was a separate motion. And then,
Appoint him to replace Glenn. who's
Yes.
now of the retirement plan committee, correct?
correct. And then Mike made a motion to add to the agenda the appointment of Tanya Galpin. Okay, Then we appointed Tanya Galpin. Okay, member comment. I only have one thing. Everyone that has an employment contract directly with the first selectman is getting a review this year. I'm about halfway through. That is something that is in everyone's employment contract that has never been done in the past, but it's time. So. Public comment, we will take public comment from the room first. And then go to the Zoom. Yes.
Alan Carl. In regards to the conversation that Mike brought up earlier about the,
Alan, you might have to come up because this is being zoomed out. Sorry. Or you can pick any one.
Alan Olivero, 203 Branch Road. In regards to Mike's comment earlier about the water company from Waterbury. Back in 2021, 22, we had one of those large water mains blow up on Old Branch Road. It took out Target Enterprises, the property from the Bothroyds, and we had a lot of debris into the condos at Black Rock Village. And back then I was the president. There was a lot of debris, and people down there got together and picked up our mess. And it's definitely something to look at. But that thing could have wiped out a couple of those units. The water would have went the other way. Just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll keep on them. Anyone else in the room? Okay. If anyone on the Zoom would like to make public comment, please take yourself off of mute and feel free. Anybody? All right. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.